As is habitually the case, the first reading is chosen in function of the Gospel, and we have a direct link in an expression which comes in both. It is to serve or love the Lord with all. Now, it goes into various parts. Essentially, it's the being, the heart, the soul. The Gospel is perceived to be the fulfillment of the law, but it does not make abstraction of it either. And we need to bear that in mind when it comes, for instance, to the various cultic aspects. It is too easy just to jettison the Pentateuch on this. In concrete terms, when that divine pedagogy indicates that the other is to be treated as the other, and by only certain categories of people, that means that that holds true, mutatis mutandis, in the new. We have easily forgotten certain things. Only certain people of certain types had access to the Holy of Holies. With regard to the going further, however, the Master, interestingly, throws it against the very ones who are perhaps wanting genuinely to know what is the fullness of the law. He attacks one particular aspect which actually is not absent from our own culture either. That of those of us, let's say, who are in our comfort zone. Others are beyond the pale. It is interesting that these Samaritans, who were impure in their Jewish stock and also incomplete in their Jewish belief, on more than one occasion are honored by the Lord. It was a Samaritan who came back, only one of the 10 healed from leprosy, and gave thanks. It was to that woman of Samaria that the Lord spoke of many things that he had not spoken of to Jews. That rather intimate, quaint conversation at the well. And here we have the Lord warning the professionals, here the priest and the Levite, about going, of course, to the temple for some holy duty and missing the Lord where he's there, whereas the Samaritan goes to the essential. We easily, mentally at least, put people in bottles and label them. In Ireland it might be the travelling community. Actually, just the other day I was asked to go and talk to a young travelling lassie in difficulty near here, and to bless this one and that one in the large family and the house as well. And I was moved, genuinely moved, when I saw how I was welcomed by this little 7-year-old lassie, 7-year-old, who was very well able to keep the house together and look after her elderly granny. I was amazed. How many would do that in the settled community? When there are many children, children have to, in a way, grow up very quickly sometimes and take responsibility, which they wouldn't have otherwise. God sees all that. And I was also amazed by some of the things that she said, which showed a depth of perception. We're talking about a 7-year-old. So we must have the eyes of God to look into a soul, unclassified, a soul in its uniqueness, a soul in its imponderable mystery, and meet that soul there, and on bended knees adore the Lord present in it, just where that soul is, and not where it should be. When, by the way, the soul finds that's going on, it responds in kind. A soul picks up when it is being respected and will respond with respect. And with regard to our notion of being professional in the work of the Lord, it is actually rather sad that one sees that in the fullness of the economy of grace that we have, we can become so professional that we miss the gospel. Concretely, a few things come to mind. I have come across situations more than once when it is practically impossible for a priest, let alone a layperson, to have access to some bishop here or there. The bishop being so professional that he's not accessible. What are we at? The Lord was accessible. And then one sees other situations too, even in orders there for the purpose of reaching holiness, even perfection. Institutes of perfection still used. Well, what does one find? Professionalism coming in there too. And I remember hearing some years ago this comment made by a priest who was transmitting something heard from other priests, that with regard to one particular superior, and actually this was a superior general of an order of some importance, that it had been questioned whether he was practicing Christianity or something else. In other words, that the whole notion of charity had gone so quickly out of the window in the way that his subjects and others were being treated, that one had to actually ask the question, what's going on here? So we need to be careful, because the first advert, the first evangelizer, is our humanity. And if the first encounter is off-putting, we are in the way of the Lord. No matter how well educated we are as professionals, if we are worse off than the Samaritan in our understanding of people, we are just like that priest and Levite. We've gone with our nose straight to Jerusalem and missed the Lord where he was waiting for us.